sectors to make health and sustainable diets affordable and accessible to everyone. At the national celebrations held at Bulindi Zonal Agricultural Research and Development Institute in Hoima District, the Vice President Edward Ikwanuka Sekandi, who represented President Museveni, said government has put in place measures to reduce hunger through irrigation and other measures.
This will significantly reduce reliance on rain-fed agriculture and will also help to mitigate the impact of climate change through irrigation and the use of rainwater harvesting technologies. Government will continue to support sustainable farming systems which produce nutritious diets for all people.
He, however, warned the public against diseases that result from malnutrition and bad eating habits.
Malnutrition affects agricultural productivity, especially among women, who provide 60% of labor in farming activities. Iodine deficiency accounts for poor mental development, and this affects our young children and future workforce. Improving nutrition status is therefore a critical issue in the development process.
The country representative of Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Antonio Querido, blames food insecurity to laziness, especially in agriculture-related activities.
An urgent need for all the key players and stakeholders to come together to critically look at all drivers of food insecurity in our continent and the world, and to make bold steps to ensure viability, accessibility, and affordability of nutritious food for our people.
Leaders, especially from Bunyoro region, thanked government for the improved road network, but asked for more support in commercial agriculture.
Helps in producing micronutrient-rich foods. One, iron-rich beans, the orange flesh with potato, and these ones are healthy foods for improving the vitamin content of the people and the children, and also of all the people.
Numbers have doubled, tripled, or whatever. Now it is very difficult for us to reach each and every person. That's why we are even encouraging people to form groups so that we can reach them in groups.
I think it's quite important also to equate in terms of money. When we look at the various outputs that you have generated over the years, I'd like to make mention the technologies contribute close to about $2.5 billion per annum in terms of export revenues and savings on imports of food.
According to the 2018 State of Food Security and Nutrition Report, an estimated 821 million people suffered from chronic hunger in 2017, of which 60% of the world's hungry are women. Statistics show that hunger kills more people every year than malaria, tuberculosis and AIDS combined, and about 45% of infant deaths are related to undernutrition.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has embarked on disseminating HIV/AIDS messages to ignite his presidential fast-track initiative he launched way back in 2017. He has now launched the presidential media campaign to end HIV/AIDS by 2030. Here's the story.
Why don't you wait, hold on, you study, finish your degree, and then you look for a partner.
These are some of the messages on HIV and AIDS President Yoweri Museveni is disseminating to the public using different media platforms. In this regard, he has launched the presidential media campaign to end HIV by 2030. Minister for the Presidency, Esther Mbayo, launched the campaign at the media center in Kampala.
Have sex at 16, at 18, at 20, and then you die, or you start having problems, which you may live with all your life. Why don't you wait, hold on, you study, finish your degree, and then you look for a partner at the right time.
Protect yourself. Abstain from sex until you are ready.
This campaign, focusing on media messages on HIV, will run consistently for 1 year on various media channels. This media campaign is directed towards igniting the Presidential Fast Track Initiative launched way back in 2017, and the main aim is to achieve the global goal of ending HIV by 2030.
The messages cover a range of HIV/AIDS themes that are going to be broadcast on a number of media platforms, including televisions, radio stations throughout the country. Some of the themes that the President address that want to be aired include young people and HIV testing, getting men to embrace testing, and safer health care lifestyles, prevention of mother-to-child transmission, the importance of testing and treating, sustainability of HIV and AIDS response, including institutional awareness.
All these efforts are coming at a time when focus is shifting to finding a cure for HIV, but also to improve the treatment and care for those living positively.
Injectable ARVs, it's an experiment that's being tried out to see if it can be done, if the drugs can be, instead of taking them every day, if someone can get a monthly injection, and then the drugs are released slowly in the body over a period of a month, and then you come back next month. As you know, there's a lot of contraceptive methods that work like that. There are 3 months, you get an injection, and it works for 3 months. It's the same thing that they're trying to do here. It does not exist. It is just a trial.
Currently, there are 1.4 million people living with HIV, and out of these, 1.2 million people are on treatment. Adiana Kuti, UBC.
Now, the campaign to immunize children against polio and vaccination for rubella has kicked off in Kampala. This initiative is meant to protect children against the complications that come with catching these diseases, including death. While launching the mass immunization in Kampala, the Mayor's Central Division, Charles Serunjoji, assured parents that the vaccine is safe, so they should not deny their children the right to be immunized.
Chitante Primary School, with a population of 4,000 pupils, is where Kampala started the mass immunization for polio and vaccination for measles and rubella campaign. Children were scared of the injections, as some shed tears while still in queues for immunization. On injection, 2 people had to hold them down to avoid the risks that come with resistance. Government came up with the 3-day initiative to disrupt the transmission of measles and rubella, while polio is a booster dose.
Even those children, once we vaccinate them, they cannot be able to get rubella to then be able to pass it on to a pregnant woman who may not have been vaccinated. So that is why we are saying let's get this big age group, which when you look at it, I think it's more than 50% of Uganda's population. We have a very young.
Dr. Richard Waliomo, KCCA medical officer, says measles and rubella have similar symptoms and can only be differentiated through a blood test.
Both cause fever, they have skin rash, somebody coughs, red eyes, but what disturbs us are actually the complications of these 2 diseases. Rubella, we have not been having the vaccine for rubella, and therefore that's why very many people have been going out with the complications. One of the complications is that somebody can become deaf. Another complication is that a patient or a child with rubella will get blind.
The Mayor Kampala Central Division, Charles Serunjoji's children, were victims of rubella. He explains how he struggles to treat the strange disease.
One after another, they have been chased out of school, and they have been spending 2 weeks at home trying to mitigate this challenge. With this immunization, that will stop. Our children are going to get access to proper health, and which is a constitutional right. They are going to mitigate the challenges that have been stopping them from having access to education. And also in the families, we have been spending a lot of money mitigating measles rubella without knowing what it is. And this money has been going to waste.
At Nakasero Primary School, about 470 pupils have been immunized against rubella virus and polio. Buganda Road and Nachivo Bulu as well participated in the campaign.
I try to make them comfortable so that they at least are aware, they put it on their mind, the brain accepts that they are going to receive something, so that they go willingly and they receive it happily.
The drops for the polio vaccine are squeezed at a degree of about 45 as a way of reducing the risk of giving an overdose to the pupils.
So that like when you put it 90, you find more drops will come. It means we shall be giving overdose. But like when you put it like 45 degree, you'll be able to give like 2 drops, which is very convenient by the ministry, and that's the recommended dose that we are supposed to give.
The vaccination of children continues at nearest health facilities and designated immunization posts. Kampala Central Division has a target of immunizing 37,180 children from 9 months to 14 years of age. Ivan Kahwa in Farida Namfuka, UBC News.
City business lady Angela Katatumba has been granted bail over a court case in which she is accused of obtaining money by false pretense. The bail follows the taking over of prosecution by the Directorate of Public Prosecutions from a private prosecutor. Katatumba is accused of clinging onto possession of Hotel Diplomat in Muyanga, a property which Indian businessman Shukla Mukesh claims ownership of.
The appearance of Angela Katatumba at Makindye Magistrates Court on Wednesday morning was in response to this criminal summon. She is accused of criminal trespass, cheating, impersonation, forgery and obtaining money by false pretense. Offenses she strongly denies. The bone of contention is Hotel Diplomat in Muyanga, a suburb of Kampala. Its ownership is claimed by businessman Shukla Mukesh, the proprietor of Shumuk Investments.
Now, the property, the Hotel Diplomat in Muyanga, which court adjudicated that belongs to the Katatumba family, is the property this man is saying that they are trespassing on. Is the property this man is saying that they are collecting money by false pretense. So the charges that are here against my client are charges of trespass and obtaining money by false pretense in their own property.
The taking over of the case by the Director of Public Prosecutions ends private trials under which it was instituted.
If the DPP finds that there is a case, then it will prosecute the case. If it finds that there is no case, the evidence that cannot sustain the charges, then constitutionally the DPP can even withdraw the charges from my client.
To regain her temporary freedom, she produced 2 sureties to apply for bail, including Katatumba Ian George and Rugirwa Katatumba, both being her biological brothers. Makindye Grade 1 Magistrate Judy Okomo would grant her a cash bail of 2 million shillings and 5 million non-cash for each of the sureties.
She produced substantial sureties, their documents were proper, and court found it very easy to grant the bail because even the DPP did not object to the bail application.
Both Shumuk and his lawyer, Jagwe Benedict, expressed hope in the case takeover by the DPP.
We got to know from when we reached court that the DPP picked interest in the case and took it over. We obliged and the proceedings continued. Angela Katatumba, as the culprit, took plea and denied all the charges. She was granted bail.
And I'm sure this will help the DPP and police to investigate the matter very quickly and achieve its conclusion as soon as possible. And we are confident that justice will prevail. And all due respect to the lawyers of both sides, let's see that if the investigations can be finished as soon as possible.
The case has been adjourned to 4th November 2019 for further hearing. Henry Okurut, UBC.
National Environmental Management Authority has refuted allegations of having permitted a Chinese company to reclaim River Katonga. Executive Director NEMA, Tom Okurut, says this was a mistake made by the company which NEMA managed to encounter. Officials were appearing before the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources to respond to varied issues on environment.
That if I have found someone degrading the environment and I've informed the NEMA, NEMA first appreciates my efforts as a concerned citizen.
They dug and got a lot of soil, and the soil that was put in the 120 acres came from within. But they intended to use that soil back to refill the what? To set up the background of their structure once they're done.
National Environment Management Authority has clarified on allegations that they permitted a Chinese company, Zhongdong, to dump soil into River Katonga following an alert by a whistleblower. NEMA was summoned to the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources to give an account on the matter. Officials from NEMA were led by the Executive Director, Tom Okurut.
That they had crossed the what? They were building within the buffer area of UNRWA was not true because we went. That they were building outside the UNRWA signpost. You could even see it from there.
This is an issue which investors are using. You around 6 acres, he reclaims 40. I think you need to start warning these people seriously.
However, NEMA has refuted allegations, saying it was a mistake by the Chinese company.
You look at where we went together on this industry, we visited as a committee. You have kept quiet, Shinawataka, they are degrading every day, but your response was so supersonic.
What I've done was to fence the UNRWA thing inside, but during the conditions of restarting that they changed their fence to allow the UNRWA pillar to be there, to be visible to everybody.
That it appears as though we are beginning to think that there is instances when NEMA is capable of taking action, and there is when they develop lethargy.
On the delayed cancellation of wetland titles, NEMA has attributed the issue to the poor budget and a heap of court cases by the victims. Officials also informed the committee that the Kavera ban implementation has faced delays because of non-defined boundaries in the law. The committee is expected to meet the line ministers on the matter before handing the report to Parliament. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
Now, Shoking Gulch residents of Pamanyaga Zone, Chirewa Sub-County, Tororo District, yesterday afternoon as the one Patrick Okiror, attached to Edicom Contractors Limited, was electrocuted while on duty. Okiror, who is believed to be a resident of Palisade District, met his death while trying to connect power along Pamanyaga Sender Line that is under the Rural Electrification Program currently running in the sub-county.
Residents of Pamanyang Zone, Kirewa Sub-County in Tororo District are still in shock following the electrocution of one Patrick Okiror attached to Edicom Contractors Limited while on duty. Okiror, who is believed to be a resident of Palisade District, is said to have met his death while he was trying to connect power along Pamanyang Sender Line that is under Rural Electrification Program. Kirewa Sub-County LC3 chairperson Joseph Okelo, who was present at the time when the tragedy happened, says he witnessed the incident while on his routine monitoring of the Rural Electrification Project when he saw a man hanging up helpless on the pole.
Was connecting the wire going at a Fandomala's home.
Okelo, however, insists that the execution seems a planned one, basing on the move by the Edicom company, who wanted to draw Okiror's body and disappear without the consent of the police. He further blames the company for poor coordination while at work, saying by the time the deceased climbed up the pole, power was switched off. But immediately Okiror climbed to begin his work, power was switched on.
The wire going to Pandamala's home. Then from there, somebody released the power from the other side. But for them here, they tested there was no power at first when they started work. Then lastly, the power was released when it was still half time, that thing. But it was very bad. We condemned the whole thing. We don't need such things to continue.
Our attempt to seek a comment from EDICOM workers about the incident was in vain.
Long story. Maybe after police.
Police later picked and took the body to the municipal mortuary for post-mortem as investigations into the matter are underway.
Now, the management of Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute in Gatwe, Kabatoro Town Council, Kasese District has decried inadequate equipment as a major bottleneck for effective skills development of the students. The institution has accordingly called on government to increase on the number of training equipment to ease practical lectures for the students. This was communicated during the students' last training in handling guns and shooting range.
According to the Guild President, Chris Kaseke, they have been facing shortage of practical equipment, which stifles their learning process, most especially on the practical bit. Robert Baruku, the principal, says even the guns that they used for training were not in good state for the task. He warned the students against application of the skills acquired to misuse the guns in their communities.
Anything can happen. So a gun is a gun. Okay? A gun is a what? A gun. A gun. So if you mishandle it, you know what happens.
Sergeant Boaz Katushabe from the HIMA Training School, who supervised the training, admits that most students lack vital knowledge on the guns even after a long stay in training.
And now the Embassy of Netherlands and the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, have signed a partnership agreement for a 4-year program to advance sexual and reproductive health and rights in West Nile and Acholi sub-regions.
Uganda performs poorly against key sexual reproductive health and rights indicators. According to the 2016 Uganda Demographic Health Survey, teenage pregnancy has stagnated at 25% for the last decade, contributing to 26% of maternal deaths. According to the in-country UN population body UNFPA, such poor indicators jeopardize Uganda's opportunity to harness the demographic dividend and to achieve its vision of becoming an upper middle-income country.
Very much. Thank you very much. It's good to thank you.
A new program worth 24 million euros, approximately 98 billion Uganda shillings, funded by the Embassy of Netherlands in Kampala, will support interventions to address 5 major sexual reproductive health and rights issues that include high maternal mortality, the unmet need for family planning, the high rates of teenage pregnancy, and child marriages.
Some of the reasons why that teenage pregnancy rate has stalled is we have not done enough. We've done some efforts to really mobilize the leadership and the ownership of decentralized decision makers. And last but not least, community ownership. I think we at least UNFPA and many other partners, we still have some way to go.
The Director General National Population Council, Dr. Jotham Musinguzi, says government is committed to addressing the bottlenecks hindering absorption of sexual and reproductive health and rights programs.
We have not made progress on this matter in the last 10 years or so, and we are trying to work with communities, with the leaders in all sectors, district leaders, leaders at the national level.
The program targets to reach approximately 2.8 million people with sexual reproductive health and rights information and services specifically targeting adolescents and young people, women and men of reproductive age, including refugees, gender-based violence survivors, and persons with disability.
The Netherlands government looks forward to continued cooperation with the government of Uganda through ministries and agencies to see that the realization of sexual and reproductive health and rights becomes a reality for all.
The 12 districts to benefit include Zombo, Nebi, Maracha, Pakwach, Amuru, Agago, Arua, Yumbe, Koboko, Ajumani, Moyo, and Lamo. Bernard Yiga, UBC.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Fred Enanga has refuted allegations of using power and authority to support his elderly father, George Echonga, to grab the Oreta clan land in Apache district. The spokesperson informed commissioners that there is a group from police who are using his clan members to tarnish his name. Members of Okime Okabo clan, led by Naftali Enanga, petitioned the Land Inquiry Justice, accusing Enanga's father, George Echonga, and his son of fraudulently acquiring a title on their land. That's about measuring 4,000 square miles.
Spokesperson Fred Enanga has appeared before the Land Inquiry to defend allegations of encumbering and taking over their clan land. This follows a group contending that Enanga and his father are threatening to evict them by 1st November 2019 and have since been denied access to the water source in the community, which is now limited to their grazing and farming activities.
Your name keeps coming up in your capacity as a police officer. And it involves, for example, the use of police officers.
The manner in which our grandfather, young grandfather, Enanga Naptal, was sort of interfering in the activities of his land.
Enanga was accused of deploying police officers on the disputed land and disrupting family gatherings when it comes to solving the matter. He, however, denied the allegations, saying the arrests and detentions were made stem from criminal offences of assault and theft of goods that were reported. Enanga said they are being blackmailed by relatives for fear of their presence on the land for unknown reasons.
There are two police officers who are also part of the family of Achura. They took photographs of the DPC's vehicle, and they even sent those photographs to Honorable Obua, who was an investigating officer at some time, with the information that Enanga is terrorizing us in the village.
Enanga and his father contend that the clan land is in Alia village 8 miles away from Oreta, where the disputed land is.
This is our land, which is about 3 square miles. Then we have the family of Enanga Benjamin is here. Ojok Konari with 1.5 square miles is here. Enanga Naptal spans from here to about 3 square miles. Another Johnson Okwiri is this side. And you find there's no one who is disturbing there. So it's not proper.
The commission instructed Enanga and father not in any way evict people on the contested land through their Aulondiang mixed farm, stating that their company was fraudulently set up and registered.
Your company is an non-citizen?
My lord, that is something that I think we had instructed our lawyer. Maybe we shall find out from him.
The inquiry advised them to settle their differences for the pride of the Oreta clan. Sudat Kai, UBC News.
The Kampala Innovation Week has been officially opened. I beg your pardon. We'll start with the National Water and Sewerage Corporation, together with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, have today signed a landmark agreement that will ensure reliable water provision for refugees southwest Uganda. This has been disclosed by the UNHCR representative in Uganda, Joel Bokchu, saying that it is in line with the spirit of comprehensive refugee response framework.
National Water is to take over the management of the water distribution system and assets from United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the Office of the Prime Minister in Ramwanja Refugee Settlement. This follows a challenge of inadequate water supplied through 6 motorized boreholes and shallow wells in most camps. The initiative is to enable refugees to at least have 20 litres per person every day, which will be extended to communities once the scheme becomes operational.
70% of all the water systems that were put in place during the years, the decades before until this year, were put in place by partners that we did not finance.
Dr. Silva Mugisha said the corporation is grateful for the efforts government is putting to integrate refugees in the service delivery systems.
The biggest issue I know in these refugees is sustainability.
Correct.
How does this system exist today, tomorrow, and the other day? And that is where National Water now comes in. We shall improve on the functionality of these systems, and we are yet to map out exactly what we shall do to these manual boreholes, for example.
Uganda is currently host to 1 million refugees with over 70 new arrivals since January this year. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
We take a quick break. When we are back, business news. This is News Tonight.
Mommy, you can't touch me. You can't touch me. Daddy, what's wrong?
I've had a long day, Angel, and I have a bad headache.
Oh, I'll give you something that will make you feel better if you promise to play with us.
Headache? Toothache. Unapoumwa, unataka kitulizo kwa haraka gani? Mara moja. Pain and Fever Reliever. A quality product from Beta Healthcare. Contains paracetamol, caffeine, and aspirin. Beta Healthcare. Caring for all. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Measles and rubella outbreaks are still being reported in some districts in Uganda, putting the lives of our children at risk. In order to stop these outbreaks and maintain a polio-free Uganda, the Ministry of Health has planned a national measles, rubella, and polio immunization campaign for all children under 15 years of age on 16th to 20th October 2019, starting 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. All vaccines are safe, effective, and free. Parents and caretakers are hereby asked to take all children under 15 years of age for immunization at the nearest health facility or immunization post. Ministry of Health also calls upon everybody to report any child with a fever and generalized skin rash to the nearest health facility or health worker immediately. This could be measles or rubella. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from World Health Organization and UNICEF.
Does heartburn stop you from eating the things you love? Eating too fast, alcohol or spicy food can trigger acidity, heartburn, indigestion or flatulence. Your best bet is Bettercool. Bettercool works fast to relieve acidity, heartburn and indigestion. Trust Bettercool. Enjoy life. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Tonight. Now in business news, the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority has called on the trustees to embrace real estate investment as the only way to save more and longer for a meaningful retirement. The Chief Executive Officer, Martin Nsubuga, says real estate investment is an alternative for financial market development.
Despite the unpredictability of Uganda's economy, the real estate sector is increasingly growing, with about 7.5 to the country's GDP. The industry performance has attracted more private and public players.
To have an open mind when they are looking at such an asset class, because a fund manager can come up with an alternative investment class like real estate or property. So what we are doing is to help trustees to be aware of the challenges that should be involved and the risks that they are likely to face in terms of such an asset class and what they need to look out for. But we think that going forward it is something that they can think of as an alternative investment asset class.
The Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, UBRA, wants trustees to take interest in the highly booming venture despite underlying factors.
To help the trustees make informed decisions as their fund managers bring this as an alternative investment class, they need to ask the correct questions. What are we gaining from this? What will be the risks if invested in this particular asset class? And for how long are we tying this money? And how is it going to benefit the members?
UBRA Chief Executive Officer Martin Nsubga says the venture has become a popular investment vehicle without excluding private equity investment.
If you invest in real estates, you can easily go in and move out. If you just go into buying land and houses, you can go into it, very good, but it may not be easy to move out because our real estates market is not that robust, not that very active.
Dixon Sembuya of Capital Markets Authority expressed a deficit in the housing sector, which calls for more players.
Now, real estate investment trusts are regulated. They're regulated by the Capital Markets Authority, okay? So that again increases the level of security for investors' for contributors' money. So the fact that you're dealing with a regulated product, I think adds a degree of surety. And so that population growth in itself essentially means that demand for housing continues to rise. Then secondly, resources. I don't think we've been investing adequate resources in housing. And I think for you to be able to close that particular deficit, I think you need to invest more resources, both publicly as well as privately.
This special training was organized by Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority to its trustees to make them aware about real estate investment and its underlying factors. Abdunasir Luwama for UBC News.
The Kampala Innovation Week has been officially opened today at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds by the Ministers of Science and Innovation and that of Information Technology and National Guidance. The three-day event aims at raising Uganda's profile in the startup space by providing visibility to the startup entrepreneurs, attracting investors and developing global partnerships.
Innovators in Uganda are showcasing their works at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds to potential development partners in this sector. For 3 years running, this event, jointly organized by the United Nations Capital Development Fund and the Ministry of Science and Innovation, has acted as a flashpoint platform for many innovators. But the Minister of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, Frank Tumwebaze, now wants something like a complete metamorphosis to take effect.
So to me, the discussion now should focus on how do we make these products from the startups marketable. Really, if we don't have that discussion, we will not be creating jobs. We will not be rewarding adequately these people who are investing their knowledge to invent.
But for this to be achieved, it has been argued by many that the necessary infrastructure to grease this path has to be put in place. At this event's sidelines, it was however revealed that plans are underway to make this happen.
We are going to have what is called a Technology, Innovation and Business Incubation Center. This will be like we shall create spaces. So the innovators whom we choose will go and be given space. They'll also be given some, of course they'll use now the new equipment for the machining, whatever they need.
This initiative is in line with the United Nations Capital Development Fund's Inclusive Digital Economy Program, geared towards ensuring that no Ugandan is left behind in this digital era. Many believe that such exhibitions will offer guidance on how and when this will be achieved. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
this weekend on UBC.
My name is Nkaiv Hannington, winner of the NSSF Friends with Benefits Season 2.
Congratulations, Hannington!
I used my winnings to boost my agriculture production and give a chance to the people in my community to work.
So join us this year for the third season of the NSSF Friends with Benefits, as 16 Ugandans share inspirational stories on how they use their NSSF benefits to do life-changing things. So tune in every Sunday with your hosts, Gaetano and I, and special new host, Uncle D. It's another incredible display. It's the NSSF Friends with Benefits.
And that's not all. You have the power to vote for your favorite stories to win up to 55 million shillings, just like Huntington. This show is brought to you by
NSSF, a better life.
On the international scene, an Egyptian startup turns waste into fertilizer. Baramoda is an Egyptian innovative agricultural tech startup founded in 2018, aiming at decreasing agricultural costs and helping farmers reduce their environmental impact on the soil. With Egypt's growing demand for organic fertilizers and a burgeoning population, ensuring food security over the long term is becoming crucial. The 20-member team has a goal of replacing chemical fertilizers, recycling waste and decreasing water usage for agricultural stability.
There is more than 10 million acres of agricultural land in Egypt. Annually, they leave an estimated 38 million tons of waste. For decades, getting rid of that waste has been a burden to the nation, but these young entrepreneurs have seen an opportunity.
I found out in my village that there are huge waste remains that get dumped from sugar factories. They are either thrown away or they get burned. After some research, we found out that they can be processed and turned into fertilizers.
We are trying to solve problems facing Egypt and the world. In 30 years, we're going to be 9 billion people and we need to feed them. So we must increase the area of cultivated land as well as its productivity. Our product basically revives the nutrients in the soil and decreases the water needed for cultivation by 30%.
In their hometown, Qina, they began manually to manufacture their organic compost. At first, they started knocking on doors, going from one small farm to the other, desperate to make their first deal. The very little excitement from the local farmers they saw, together with the belief in their product, made them take a little risk.
It was challenging to market our product in the beginning. Our clients are mainly farmers who are quite poor or small consultants. We tried to inform them that the product is more natural and can replace chemical fertilizers. It was no use, so we offered it without prepayment. And to give more guarantees, we said if you didn't like the results, we wouldn't even take the money later.
When Baramoda began, they aimed to produce 500 tons of their organic fertilizers annually. In few months, they increased that figure 20 folds. By the year 2020, they should operate a new factory that will produce 100,000 tons every year. They say this compost saves 20% of cultivation costs while increasing productivity by 15%.
Ugandan bird watchers push for conservation of birds' natural habitats. Currently, Uganda has the world's biggest number of species on the globe.
Speaking the language of birds, Herbert Byaruhanga is calling the green hylia. He's been doing this for 20 years.
I really feel like this is something I enjoy it. That you can make a call and the bird can respond. And then I see it. That's perfect.
But he's worried that next time it may not respond to his call. The high demand for wood fuel and timber for construction has greatly reduced the forest cover.
It's very sad that somehow, because of the burning of charcoal, we've lost a lot of cover for our vegetation.
This forest is home to about 350 bird species. Birdwatchers are pushing for the conservation of this natural habitat. Uganda is home to some of the world's endangered bird species. Most at risk are the shoebill and fox's weaver. Uganda has got about 150 shoebills remaining in the wild. The government is now taking steps to conserve their natural habitats.
For any investment to take place in Uganda today, there must be an environmental or social impact study done and a certificate of approval issued by National Environment Authority. So yes, government has mechanisms for investment, but also to check the impact of investments.
Tourism is one of the country's top revenue earners, contributing around $1.6 million annually. Herbert believes persistent conservation calls will help protect the birds, but also boost the country's revenues.
In sports, the 5th edition of the FIFA Awards has been launched with changes in the voting criteria and more categories introduced.
Federation of Uganda Football Association has launched the 5th edition of the Airtel FIFA Awards, where top performers of the 2018-2019 season will be rewarded for their efforts and achievements. The awards gala scheduled for 14th December at the Commonwealth Peak Resort, Munyonyo, will have the sports fraternity represent to declare the overall winners. A total of 14 categories are to be voted for and awarded on the evening, with the Male Player of the Year and the Female Player of the Year awards the highlights of the evening. Others are the Airtel FIFA Best 11 2019 and Airtel FIFA Women Coach of the Year for women football, to add on the male versions of the awards. There will also be recognition for the Team Fans of the Year that will be chosen from all FIFA competitions that include the Uganda Premier League, Big League, FIFA Drum, Women Football, and the like. There is also a new FIFA Member Association Award and the Best Squad of a particular year, inclusive of the club and national teams. However, for the 2019 edition, there will be 2 voting rounds before voting is opened to the public. According to the chairman of the awards committee, Rogers Byamukama, the move to have 2 voting processes is to improve on the selection criteria from the more famous choices being voted for to have more technical and informed choices for the winners.
The coaches that vote, the captains and media officers. So here we have tailored it to the coaches, the coaches, captains, and the fans. Each capped at 25. We think that we can balance the interests and we'll get a more worthy winner with less debates. However, we can never go out the debates because the award is about opinions.
For the Male Player of the Year, Shafiq Kajimu of URAFC, Said Chayune, Mike Mutiaba of KCCFC, Vianney Sekajugo of Wachiso Giants, among other players, made the nominees list. The Female Player of the Year nomination list has Juliet Nalukenge of Kawempe Muslim, Fauza Najimba, Hasfana Suna, among other players.
And the national netball team, the She Cranes, are into intensive training in South Africa, awaiting the opening ceremony of the 2019 Africa Netball Championships. The tournament, staged at Veldom in Cape Town, South Africa, runs from the 18th to the 23rd of October. Uganda is pitted in Pool B alongside Kenya, Tanzania and Zimbabwe. Botswana and Namibia will miss out on the tournament.
Yeah, because they are also strong, like as Uganda. So you can't judge that this team will win or this team will lose. So it's about how you have prepared your team. Tournament eno kyemmanyiiko nti ettiimu ebiseera ebisinga bwe ziba nga ntono oba ezimu nga tezisobodde kujja, ebiseera ebisinga batera okuzannya round robin. Buli omu n'akwata munne. Kati awo basobola okugamba asinziza points awangudde.
And with that, a recap on the headlines. Uganda commemorates World Food Day. President Museveni embarks on HIV/AIDS media messages, while mass immunization for measles, rubella and polio starts. Enanga attributes land dispute to intrigue in the police. And in sports, FIFA releases list of awards nominees. Summit up. Thank you for sticking with us on News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have a lovely night.
One of the obstacles that graduates face as they transition from school into the narrowing job market is the lack of required hands-on skills. To address this difficulty, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social